Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and George Clooney is calling out Alec Baldwin in a way, basically calling him an idiot for not checking the firearm before using it on the set of Rust that prompted the tragic loss of Halyna Hutchins. He appeared on the Mark Maron What the F podcast, WTF podcast, and talked about it in pretty great detail. In fact, I have the clip. We're going to listen to it here. I want you to hear George's own words.
You know,
yeah,
especially after all this shit we've been seeing with the Alec Baldwin stuff. It's, you know.
Oh my God, what a terrible situation. Did you talk to him?
No, I don't know Alec that well. I have to say, you know, I'm watching the news this morning, and they've got the bad guy, which is going to be the first AD, which look, he may be a dick. I don't know the guy at all, but you know, I've been on sets for 40 years, and the person that hands you the gun, the person that is responsible for the gun, is either the prop person or the armor. Period.
Yeah.
And
facts.
And this is one of those things. I was friends with an actor named John Eric Hexum.
So I'm going to get you the whole thing, but facts. Everyone's saying that, and George is always nice because he sort of really does try to like think of things objectively. And I don't think they've done a movie really close to. They're not super close friendly, but you'd think they're both politically aligned. But no, he's gonna share his perspective because right now he's talking about two examples. I didn't know he knew both of these instances.
Who accidentally pulled a gun up with blanket and put it to his head and died from the concussion. And then I was really good friends with Brandon Lee. And that was a series of stupid things that happened. When I say stupid, I mean, low budget film. I think they were in North Carolina. My cousin Miguel was going to be his best man the next week at their wedding,
Miguel Ferrar? Is that who that is?
Yeah. And Brandon and I played ball and hung out at the Hollywood Y 3 days a week. We were buddies. And, this was his big break. And the first unit, low budget, probably, I don't remember if the guy was even a union prop guy, sent it down to a second unit, a different group of shooting, and they wanted to use the same gun. So they sent the gun down there. It was the guy's girlfriend that was the prop assistant. They didn't have dummy bullets, so they made them by taking the gunpowder out and putting the bullet back in. They did a close-up of the cylinder turning with the bullets going around. She takes out the bullets out of the cylinder, and one of the bullets had lodged in the barrel of the gun.
I never knew any of this so specifically, and I didn't know Clooney was going to tell us.
And then they send it back up the first unit. No one checks the barrel. No one notices that of the 6 shells, one of them is missing the bullet. And hands it to the first unit. They put a full load in it. The actor, which you never do with a full load, points it directly at Brandon and pulls the trigger, and it's like getting shot with a normal bullet.
Now, again, I'm offering commentary here because I want to just keep playing it. Where this is all news. This has been all over the press, but I'm glad he shared that story because he knew firsthand he was there. But two, as we've said on this show so many times, Lewis has said this incident with Brandon Lee was such a tragic accident. It shouldn't have happened there in the first place, and that was what 1993, 1994. It's like insane that we didn't learn from then. And Alec Baldwin's been around making movies, lots of movies with firearms. He should know better. And so George is making it clear through these own situations, he doesn't ever let this happen. And so to hear that tragedy about Brandon Lee again, to remind us, like, guys, this wasn't some just accident on set and this all could have been prevented if we had learned from this accident that already happened in the 90s.
And killed him, and this one you look at, you say, now we're seeing, so it was dummy bullets. This is the problem, right? Now, every single time I'm handed a gun on a set, every time, Mark, they hand me a gun, I look at it, I open it, I show it to the person I'm pointing it to, we show it to the crew. Every single take, you hand it back to the armor when you're done, you do it again. And part of it is because of what happened to Brandon. Right. Everyone does it. Everybody knows. And maybe Alec did that. Hopefully he did do that. But
he's sort of implying he didn't, but he's sort of being a better person here saying, I'm hoping Alec did that. We can pretty much tell he didn't, because had he done that, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. Had he actually done the protocols that these movies have, let's be clear, they had these protocols on these films. So Clooney's not holding back any punches on this, and he shouldn't. No one should. The reality is Alec should have checked. Now, criminally, legally, we'll find out what that means if he's responsible in that way. However, morally, absolutely guilty. Absolutely guilty. He knew better. Just because, first of all, he should have known the AD shouldn't have been handing it to him. He should have known better. Just because he's trusting this AD means he's just not paying attention and you got to be better. You're too experienced. If this was your first movie, and fine, but he was just rehearsing and thinking it was clear. Check it. Anytime you're getting it, check it. You got to be more aware of your surroundings, and the fact that he wasn't, to me, is the biggest problem here.
The problem is dummies are tricky because they look like real bullets. They got a little tiny hole in the back that somebody's taken all the gunpowder out. And why, for the life of me, this low-budget film with producers who haven't produced anything wouldn't have hired for the armor someone with experience.
And remember, Alec's a producer, so he's slamming not only Alec, but this whole everyone involved, the producers. When he's slamming the producers, whether he meant it or not, he's slamming Alec Baldwin.
With that many guns.
With that many guns. And maybe they weren't even using that gun to do target practice, but they had live ammo with dummies in her pack. And that is insane. It's insane. It's infuriating.
And she's like saying that like, oh, they just were there. Someone did a sabotage and just put them in there. Who would do such a thing? I'm sorry. That makes no sense. Yeah, I'm just going to let people get shot on a set. No, it's complete BS.
And so it comes down to, we need to be better at making sure that the heads of our department are still, like we've just gone through with IATSE. We have to make sure that they're experienced and know what they're doing. Because this is, I've just never, it's just infuriating. I mean, every time I get handed a 6-gun, you point it at the ground and you fire 6, you squeeze it 6 times,
Oh, you do?
It's just insane.
So there you have it. I mean, it's you couldn't have, he's totally slamming him. He's totally, whether he meant to or not. And the reality is, Alec should be slammed for this. He should. Nothing was intentional. Is what's the problem here, right? And that's when you get to the civil and criminal charges that'll most likely happen. Like, Alec Baldwin's in trouble, and the reality is he made a mistake. I do feel for him. I do have empathy for him. I don't believe he did it intentionally. However, he's an expert. He's been doing this for a long time. He's the Shadow, guys. Come on. He's known. He's been around sets, and he hasn't been paying attention. He doesn't understand the safety protocols or whatnot. He should know better. He should know better. Of all the actors in the world, he should know better. Now, he's not like a massive action star, but he's been one. And when you're on this low-budget Western set with all these old-timey firearms and stuff, you better know how they work, and you better take the time like every person on every set does. Mark Maron tells a story. Did it play there? But yeah, Mark tells a story of, like, I didn't do a lot of movies, but every time one of those weapon comes out, everybody stops, talks about it, shows it. I mean, I've had that. I haven't been on a lot of sets. I know that's the protocol. How does Alec Baldwin not know this? That's what's so damn sad about this. Had he been the professional on this set and checked it, it would all been prevented. And that's what's so frustrating. He didn't. So everybody that piece was handed to, and the producers that created that environment that allowed that to happen, to me, they're all equally responsible. This isn't a political debate. This is he knew better. And I see a lot of people trying to make this a political debate, and that frustrates me because his politics have nothing to do with this story, with this case. Nothing. His experience has everything to do with it, in my opinion. I gotta give George Clooney props for putting it out there because he's keeping it real. And I know George Clooney gets in a lot of trouble for his politics too. But again, I'm unsure what that has to do with anything here. George Clooney keeping it real, keeping it honest, and I got to say his opinion on this was great. You can hear the whole WTF podcast with Mark Maron. His episode's on streaming all over, so go check it out. It's a good interview. I did listen to more of it, and he gets into more Hollywood stuff as well. But what do you guys think of this? Please make sure you at least subscribe, hit that bell for all alerts so you get notified. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't always. Smash the like button if you like this video and you like this content, and leave a comment down below to help the algorithm get this video engagement going. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back with more content here on Popcorn Planet. In fact, watch that video there on the left. Alec Baldwin is getting sued. What? Click it right there on the left.